This ship's certainly seen better days. This is the St. Paul, which managed to get away. Somehow it's restored some of its structure. It must have sealed some of the holes, but as you can see, the blast holes in the side of that are absolutely ridiculous. Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another MoisTea gaming video where we're going to be playing Dreadnoughts again. If you watched the previous episode, you'll see that we murdered lots of Spanish ships and sailors in near the Caribbean. They lost a lot of ships. This is the clash with it. They had 9 armoured cruisers, 18 light cruisers and 8 torpedo boats. We had 2 battleships, the new ones, the Washington class, and 8 light cruisers, and we smashed them. We only have 2 ship losses, but we do need to get these ships home. As you can see, they are damaged. Ammunition is also a little bit on the low side, so we'll get these home. Stick them in Charleston. Oh yeah, that's right, there was an update. So this circle, this red circle, which you can't see right now, is an area of control. It denies access to us and them. Now, because the update has happened while we're in the middle of this, it won't let me move these ships until they're out the way, so we'll have to wait a turn. In the update, the mines should work properly now as well, which should be interesting, because I'm not too far away from employing them myself. What I'm going to do is, if you watched the previous episode, I wanted to move this fleet over to the African coast, where the Spanish have some things. We've got the old battleships which are currently still in use, but I don't really want to use them in combat, more of a bolstering naval invasion blob. We've got some ships here which we can use to replace the light cruisers which we lost in the proper fleet. So we'll do that and see about actually building 2 more to replace the ones we've lost. We lost 2 of these. These are the Augusta class ships. These are the updated versions of the original Augusta. These are 5-inch guns of the older tech, and honestly they've proven quite effective so far. They've got quite thick armour on them and everything else, but in an episode or 2 ago we actually designed a replacement for these. This was the Savannah. However, we did this a while ago and we never ended up building any. However, it was one of our allies wanted to buy some, so we've kept it just there so that they can actually successfully have that build order, giving us some more money. But we're not going to be actually doing this themselves. It was supposed to be a replacement for the Augusta, but we did this a while ago, and then not too long ago we built these. The armoured cruiser, the first type that we're going to potentially employ into our fleet. These have some juicy 6-inch guns on there, the Mark IIs, and much more accurate. They have the improved masts and everything else, so they should be very accurate at actually shooting them. However, there is a drawback. Well, not really a drawback, but more of a distinction. This ship has lots of 3-inch guns on it, which is very good for dealing with torpedo boats, but their main armament kind of lacks when it comes to the Charleston, for example. This was the other option. This is the light cruiser Mark II hull, so again a vast upgrade over the Augusta. We have 5.9-inch guns on it. We have several of them, 2, 4, 6, 7 there, with a few of the 3-inch casemates. There's only 4 of them, so this has a better main armament, but in general the ship is of a lower quality. So it's a case of which one do we go for, and I can't quite decide, so we're going to go for a mix of both, just to see what happens. These ones will probably be better at dealing with the cruisers, whereas these ones will be better at dealing with torpedo boats, seeing as they've got so many smaller cannons on them. However, the slightly bigger gun and masts will actually improve accuracy quite significantly, but these should be a lot more robust. So it's what do you want more, really? They both, like, the light cruiser Charleston is faster, so that gives it an edge, but that's not too much of a worry. It is better in terms of chasing down ships, but also probably dodging a few enemy shots as well, but it's just a case of what do we want. So I'm going to build a couple of each for now and see what happens. The plan is to have the fleet composition as one battleship with 2 of these sort of ships and 2 of the Charlestons. But I suppose the Charlestons are very similar in terms of ship design to the Augusta, so I'm actually going to build some of these first to replace those losses and see what happens with that. So I'm going to build 2 of these. May even get a couple of them on the go to replace other losses as well. I'm going to do 4 for now. We've got the cash available at this moment in time. We'll have all these coming out at Charleston as well. We are still at war with Spain and Italy. Spain did ask for a peace agreement, but I've told them no. Because I've learnt from last time when I first accepted it, they just kind of fobbed me off with getting absolutely nothing. So we did do a naval invasion of Cuba, so we've definitely got that, I'd like to think. We've just smashed their fleet, so we're going to have a dabble at trying to do a naval invasion of the Sahara. That way we have some kind of supply in this region for operations close to the European continent. And also to potentially start invading bits of Africa. Would be nice to start conquering some of this randomly. You've got to give the computer some chance to actually start doing a roll on invading some of this. I also want the Philippines, but we don't have the forces on the west coast of America just yet. But that's going to have to be in a little while, I think. May even get this in a peace deal if we keep murdering the Spanish. So if we keep the pressure on, we can even go for a naval blockade. That'll certainly do them in, because we can supply from the British ports, I think. Oh, well, we could. We can't do now, apparently. We've lost our alliance. That's annoying, but never mind. We are quite not friendly with many nations, which is wonderful. I would like to keep prodding Spain and Italy just until we've got a foothold in the area. Then we can start prodding France and Britain and such. I don't want them getting too strong. They also have a million ports which we'll have to gradually naval invade, which is going to be an absolute nightmare. So I might leave them alone for a little while. Don't like it how they have ports right next to us. Even though they are smaller ports, they're still ports which can supply and harbour ships of theirs. Taking control of these ports will severely diminish their ability to supply their ships near our homeland. I also want to have a dabble at Russia. If we can get into this section, we have a look over here, into here, we can do a naval invasion straight across and get onto this bit of mainland, which will be quite entertaining. It won't give us that much in terms of money or anything else, but it will be quite nice to have. Now, the Russians will probably be able to invade it again, seeing as they've got such a high army force there, but if we can just grab access to it, that would be great. It would also give us access to these ports, but again, this is just me being greedy and trying to take everything. I'd like to slowly start diminishing Britain and France. We do have more tonnage than them, however, they do have a large number of ships. That is the problem. Even the Germans have a lot of ships full of torpedoes and things, so we will be at risk. Even the Russians, if we can get them to fight each other, that would be marvellous, but at the moment they're all seeming to be a little buddy with each other. And if I prod one too hard, the rest of them will begin to fall in line with each other, and that will accidentally create an alliance. We definitely can't deal with all 3 of them at once. So I'm going to be a bully and just pick off what we can from these guys first. and see if we can get the Philippines. So that means a naval invasion of Western Sahara and the Canary Islands for now. This will gradually give us more money and a base of operations. In terms of finances, we're still looking pretty good. We are building a lot of ships. We've still got the 4 battleships building. Some of our allies are wanting ships, and now we're also building 4 more of those armoured cruisers. We are building our shipyard size up as well, so that's not too worrisome. Everything is at max, crew training, tech, transport, everything. Just the way I like it. Research priorities, I'm trying to get the destroyer design, see what happens, because I would like to do some mine laying. This is going to be the way that we're going to do it. I would like dual cannon 6-inch guns. How we go about that, I'm not too sure. It's probably going to be in turret mechanisms somewhere, seeing as we had secondary double turrets for capital ships and everything else on here. So I'm presuming it's going to be in here, but I don't think we're going to find it anytime soon. But the tech in here is gradually going up in terms of the length of the barrel, which will increase muzzle velocity and everything else, which should in turn increase accuracy. It would be nice also if we can have even more range on the torpedoes, proving rather effective so far in deterring the enemy from getting too close, because they drastically have superior torpedo capability. Even though we do have the protection for it to some degree, they still don't do us any good, and the Augusta class light cruisers do not have hull protection implemented into them, so they get blapped quite easily with that. A new rangefinder is also available to us, so that will be fabulous. At some point we are going to upgrade the Washington class, so having a improved rangefinder on it will drastically increase the damage output of those cannons that we have on there. So we'll go for that for now and see what happens. In terms of who do we prod in the meantime, I think I'm just going to gradually reduce the friendliness of the Russians, maybe the British, or maybe the French. It's hard to say which one I want to go for, really, as long as we don't go for all of them. Naval power rating is going to be a big factor in it. As you can see, the British have a stronger navy than us, so that's going to be quite worrisome. The Russians will be older tech. Germans, they just need a bit more, I think. What about the French? They're only on 7%. That's interesting. So we might start prodding the French first. But again, if we end up going to war with one of them, then we may end up going to war with all of them. So I need to start prodding the French gradually and try and improve our relations with the others. This should hopefully drag France away from the other ones, at least in theory. I'm going to gradually increase tension with France. Don't forget, we're still at war with Italy and Spain. We're going to try and grab this. If I can, I'm going to try and grab Sardinia. But that looks like it's going to be a little bit of a pickle to get to. Now, we should be okay, but we've got no supply ports there. This is why I'm really wanting this, so we have at least some fuel going to our ships. And it should be relatively easier to defend. Oh, here we go. Torpedo, boat, destroyer, hull available. That is very nice. And we are smashing lots of transports. Excellent. This will only give us more score. And the prodding has commenced. Yeah, the British have lots of ships here. All scattered bits. I don't like it. May even have to go to war with them anyway, just to shove them out of the area. But I'd like to at some point anyway. This must be part of the update as well. All these lines from other ships are a bit more extravagant than before. You can see there's going to be quite a few ships wanting to go this way and that way. Mostly British little scouting parties. Our ships are moving closer to the Sahara. Looking at the hulls that we have, these are the semi-armoured cruiser hull that we are going to be using in the new ones. So we've got the first armoured cruiser hull, which is NAF. You can max that out though, but I don't particularly like this ship. And we've got the armoured cruiser 2, which just seems to be a more sleek version. This can go up to mass amounts, but there's no way that we can actually get to that, as we need the technology. And then there's almost the armoured cruiser 3 as well now, which would appear to be a smaller version of the battleship 2. Currently we are building on the battleship 1, which is 16,000 tons, which I believe is equivalent to the armoured cruiser 2. Which at some point we may need to build some kind of armoured cruiser if, for example, the more remote regions, say the Philippines, cannot actually house a battleship. We'll have to have something different in there. Something smaller. So at some point we may be looking at an armoured cruiser. It's going to be a while yet, but at some point I may end up using and designing a new battleship 2 hull. We haven't used one of these yet, but we shall see. It does look quite sleek. It does resemble the semi-armoured cruiser hull, but bigger, as you can see. So we'll have to have a gander. As you can see from the stats, it significantly has more resistance, so armor in general and things, so that's good. It will be able to sustain more damage. The floatability is a little bit more floppy though. Stability is much higher on it as well though, which means it's going to be a much better shooting platform. So eventually, once the Washingtons get replaced, it may get replaced with this hull, unless we get some more things unlocked in the meantime. We're still replacing the Kansas. Is it the Kansas class? Yes, it is. I actually remembered. Still replacing these, which are ancient. These are the original ones that I did, not the update, but still, we're still replacing these with the Washington class. Now, we can't do everything at once, but we were set out to build a torpedo boat destroyer. Is actually significantly quite larger than the torpedo boat itself. Now, can we stick mines on this thing? Doesn't appear that we can. I was hoping we could. We definitely can't on the torpedo boat. The light cruiser 1 we can. Right, so the torpedo boat destroyer, we cannot stick mines on it. So this means that we're going to have a choice. We can either build a light cruiser 1 with mine capabilities on it, or we gradually replace the Augusta class with it. What is going to be more expensive though, or cost friendly? That is the thing. The Augusta class are built for combat. Now, these light cruisers that I'm potentially going to be using for mine laying, I literally just want them to be mine laying and not getting combat. So they're going to have to be really swift, fast, just to get away from everything. Not used in combat, just mine laying. So I think we'll build one. They don't even need a lot of range on them, so that's good. We'll probably reduce the displacement significantly. The only thing we really need is the mines. We can have the mine layer 2 on it, which is fantastic. Literally going to have this as a mining ship. The most cost-effective mining ship possible. So I'm actually going to reduce the displacement as much as possible. That certainly saved us a few pennies. We're going to need speed to get away from everything. So the optimal speed is 21.5. We're going to have to surpass that significantly. So we're going to have to, at some point, it will just jump to, oh, there it is, to extreme amounts. So what was that? 23.5, maybe 20.8? No, that overdoes it. 6 is fine. What about 7? That's the ratio, you see. You go to that certain point and it just gets over-engineered and it's done. But the maximum speed we can have on these is 23.6, which will, at least for the time being, get away from most things. Now, we also need to consider, will it be better a light cruiser 2 to do it? Because we can have a low range one of these as well. Even on the displacement, because these are actually faster. 23 is the optimal speed, so let's have a dabble and see if we can see where that point is of where it jumps to stupid amounts there. So what was that? 26? Nope, somewhere in between. 23.5, so that is significantly faster. And we can stick the mines on there as well, so that definitely will help them get out of combat. However, this is going to get more expensive simply because it's going to need more things on it. Now, range, we could just have it at minimum. Bulkheads, we can literally have at nothing because it's not going to be a combat ship. Look at the cost already. This is much nicer. We can have a look and duplicate this on the other one. Range, everything else at minimum. We can even reduce the beam and the drought to stupid levels because we do not need these to be in combat. They're just going to be dawdling around laying down mines. This is already turned into a much cheaper venture than what I thought. We don't need any fancy things on them. We could give them potentially better engines. I mean, that improves the range, but it improves the cost by around 10%. We don't need range or anything, and we don't need the weight space, so we'll just not bother with that. We'll give them just a balanced rudder because that's what I stick on everything. I mean, we can even stick the iron plate on there. I want the cheapest of the cheap. These are not going to be engaging in combat. Don't need anything special on there. Standard, everything. Could even go with 0 armor and have them completely flange out. Like, so this is almost painful to do, but it is what it is. And we just need to stick some bits on it. Front tower, go for the basic of the basic. Secondary tower, again, the basic of the basic. With some funnels, we can go for a thin funnel. And leave that at that, because it doesn't need to go anywhere. Engine efficiency at nothing. To be fair, actually, no, we're going to have some good funnelage on here. Oh yeah, I need to do it with the control button, don't I? There we go. Just because we do want the engine efficiency to be quite high. We can at least put a little bit of money into the funnels. And it's only 22%, I suppose. What about the induced boilers? Well, that kicks it up, but it also kicks up the price. Just have them as cheap as the cheap. If we need to upgrade them at some point, we will do. They do need at least one gun on them. They just make a nice, cheap and cheerful one. We could stick a couple on, I suppose. But to be fair, I'm not that bothered. We could stick a 6-inch gun on the back. We could stick a 7-inch gun on the back. But we're not going to bother. This is just a getaway ship. We can stick a 4-inch gun. We'll have one at the front. It doesn't actually cost that. Oh yeah, it still costs quite a lot of money. So we'll just have one gun at the front. That is it. May even be better to stick it on the back, because really this thing is just going to be running away from everything and anything. Sticking it at the back, it can at least shoot back while it is running away. The only thing this ship is going to be able to... Well, the only thing that is going to be able to catch it is probably torpedo boats. So we're going to go for max HE and explosive things and everything else. Light shells, because that's less expensive. We can at least stick some decent gun cotton on there. And that be that. Rangefinder, how much is that? Well, that's quite cheap. We'll have that on there anyway. So we're talking about $1 million for this mine-laying ship, which is quite nice. We don't want any armor on it at all, because it's just going to be a speed demon of mine-laying. Let's have a look at the other one and see what we can do in terms of comparison. So again, we're going to need some funnelage on it. Now, this is going to be of older technology. We can stick 3 of those on there. Let's have a look at what else we have. Go for the balanced rudder. The rubbish armor, because it's not going to be in combat. No armor on the hull anywhere, so it's going to be a complete flange boat. Basically, it's going to be a torpedo boat, but bigger and with mines on it, which is essentially what we're going for here. We need the main tower on there, the basic of the basic, because we're not spending any money on these because they're not going to be engaging in combat. We need at least 1 main gun. We'll stick the 1 4-inch gun at the back, just like what we did with the others. Max HE shells, because the only thing that should be able to catch it is a torpedo boat, so we can at least shoot it from the back. Light shells, reduced shells, at least go for the gunpowder. And the rangefinder, because it's cheap as pennies. No armor on it at all anywhere, so if anything hits it, it's certainly going to be in a bit of a pickle. And that costs a lot less. So this is the Light Cruiser Mark 1 hull, and the other one is the Light Cruiser Mark 2 hull. Now this costs 25% more than the other, however, it is drastically faster, which means it will be able to get out of combat a lot quicker and stay away from anything that might hurt it a lot better. So I do think paying that 25% more will actually be worth it. I think this is going to be the winner. I was hoping to do the mine laying on the torpedo boat destroyer, but that is currently not big enough. And these are only little ships anyway in comparison, but that is probably going to have to be it. This is the Reno class. Legit, a ship built for running away, so we'll see how this turns out. See if we can pump a few of these out and get some minefields laid. Looking at the price difference, the Augusta costs 4.1 million, and the new Reno costs 1 million, so that was definitely the correct choice. I would rather build several new ones of these and gradually mothball the Augustas, and keep the Augustas going, where the maintenance will just keep going up and up and up. And look at that, the maintenance on that. Yes, it's built for combat, but it will probably be much cheaper just to build something built for running away than it will be to retrofit this, stripping everything off it. Yeah, I made the right choice there. Now, we can't actually build any just yet because we're at maximum building capacity. Our fleet managed to intercept that 1 ship again. We're going to have to do this just so that we can move our ship, but we're going to have to be careful because a lot of our ships are damaged. This is just the 1 ship that got away in the previous battle. So we're just going to have a dabble. At least this way we can then move our fleet and get it repaired. It's only 1 light cruiser. It's probably going to run away. Enemy smoke to the north. Let's just have a look. Our ships aren't actually looking too bad. Normally, when I've done this before, the enemy, our fleet would just be in tatters. This looks like it's actually saved a lot of the damage rather than just blowing it up. Now, they are at the north, so we can just proceed to go northwards. Like so. Sounds about right to me. These are the Washington class. Very little damage was sustained to them. It was quite nice, actually. A good boat, proving quite worthy so far. Not bad at all. It will be nice when we eventually have large dreadnoughts and things. This ship's certainly seen better days. This is the St. Paul, which managed to get away. Somehow it's restored some of its structure. They must have sealed some of the holes, but as you can see, the blast holes in the side of that are absolutely ridiculous. I think some tweaking needs working on that because the hole in that is bigger than the hull itself. We've just got all our ships to follow the battleships, and they're just going to go north, which is where we've been told the enemy is. See if we can pop them off at a distance. Don't know if the enemy are going to try and run away, but regardless, this will free up our ships, which is marvellous. The AI-controlled fleet of manoeuvring is significantly better. They are all set to follow, and they aren't bumping into each other half as much as what they did before. It is much nicer to actually operate a fleet now, without having to fiddle with everything. I'm going to be fiddling with them. I've told them to go in line abreast and see what happens. They're probably not going to be able to get there in time, just because the forward ship is actually doing stupid speeds as well. But I just want to try and spread out. I think the ship is getting away. Yeah, it is. We're not going to get there in time. Just legging it. And I'm not surprised. There's no way it could possibly win this. Keeps telling me that it's from the north, then the northeast, the northwest, and the speed has been allowed to go up to times 30. So there we go. That ship got away, which is fine. It would appear it's heavily damaged as well by looking at it, the damage thing. I thought we sunk them all, but it is what it is. It hasn't resolved the issue though. We still can't seem to move these ships anywhere, which is quite irritating. So at some point we're going to have to destroy it. Now that Spanish ship can't move either because it's in our control radius. And our ships can't move because it's in their control radius. So we're just going to have to try and catch the thing. We've got another opportunity now to take care of it. Might auto-resolve it. It might actually somehow sink it. Oh, it has. Excellent. Nice. So now our ship should be able to move. New technology, yeah, really good. Yeah, really good. Come on, I just want to move my ships. We've murdered lots of Spanish ships, that's excellent. Military conflict, yeah, oh, there's so many things going on right now. Just move me boats, there we go. Right, let's move them to Wellington. Get them repaired and recrewed. The enemy do have a couple of ships over here. We do have one of our older fleets stationed down there, but our battleships aren't ready. We are throwing some more ships down at it, so I'm going to try and delay that engagement until we've got these Augusta ships going down there as well. We've got one of the older battleships moving down there as well, currently on its own, quite exposed, but it is what it is. Just see if it gets there. Repair this, and now we can also see about having a dabble at this. It has given us the option to murder them. Let's go for a naval invasion. Let's choose province. We can go for... Oh, we can go for West Spain. Oh, that's... I don't think we've quite got that tonnage there. But we can go for the Western Sahara. Let's just have a look at see which one has the best port. Santa Cruz has a decent port. We're going to have to go for that. So we'll go for a naval invasion of the Canary Islands. That's something you're not going to hear of very often. Canary Islands, and we'll have a dabble at that. Nice. They'll probably have to stick our ships in the near vicinity of it, so we'll move them over. We've got some more Spanish ships there, which we can have a dabble at. It's only one though. Probably not worth trying to chase for 3 days. We'll just move our ships closer to Santa Cruz and see if we can get this done. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Be sure to check out the Discord. It's a link in the description. Everybody can join. Please do. It'd be good to have a talk to you. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.